And action.
Hi. Were you ever wondering if I was going to open the door?
Yep.
I really was.
Come into my studio. Look at my trash. I was talking about my first piece of trash art that I framed.
Yeah.
It's this guy over here. This one, there's a lot of like neon stuff in the beginning and very kind of like bold printed paper that I had kept for many years. It was just fun and so different from the work that I was like trying to force myself to do, painting with acrylics. They were just saying, no girl, I'm not doing this.
Why do you think people make art?
The answer that I hear most often is because you can't not. Like you're drawn to it, you have a compulsion to like make something and do something. But I don't know that that's like a universal truth for artists. And maybe part of the reason I have a hard time sometimes using that term for myself and is
Artist.
Artist. It's taken a while for me to be comfortable saying, like, when people are asking what I do, I often say, well, I'm a designer by trade and an artist by heart, because I'm just like, I am drawn to do it, but I've been encouraged in that aspect of my life. I have seen examples within my own family and within my community of people like doing that and seeing a successful way forward for myself to create. So I wouldn't say it's a compulsion in my sense to create, but it's a therapy. It is a way for me to quiet my mind in certain aspects, in certain situations, but it's also just fun. And I think that that fun part is what keeps me coming back to it. So I hope that's why other people create too. Like, I hope that's an aspect of it, not just like this idea of like, I have to do this thing. I have to like keep pushing myself down this path. I hope that they find excitement and play instead of just pressure in that sense. Aw, she lights up. But you have to kind of smack it. Those first pieces when I sat down and was just like, let me try something different. It was really about pulling back from trying to paint and being frustrated over and over again with like my, what I feel like is a lack of skill and practice in that area, so that I couldn't quite translate what was in my head onto the canvas. Realizing that I didn't need to keep torturing myself with these bad feelings and that I could step away and like try something different. It felt so low stakes, right? Just like, these are things I have around me right now. I've got glue, I've got this, and I can just see what happens. And like, there's absolutely no pressure on like what the final product is. And the pressure was always just one that I put on myself. So I think giving myself permission to like stop doing that and just have a little fun and like try something different was maybe a turning point in my whole process. Having those moments of like, oh my God, this is gonna be really cool, you know, is exciting. But also having those moments of like, this is fine. I feel good about it. Maybe it gets tossed back into the trash pile to be used for something else. You know, it's like literal garbage, so it's fine. There's just like experiments around, like I was working on like this idea of, you know, these like a wall of like, and you can see that's why it's called an experiment. If I find myself feeling restless, I know that trash art or like collage or creating something is a tool I can turn to like help me ground myself and find a little bit of peace of mind and maybe work through what's making me feel unsettled. There are a few tools that I've used and that I've learned through therapy to help relieve some of that stress and anxiety. One has been journaling. The only intention is just to write without any real planning, and it's just kind of like word vomit. And then the other one is trash art. Sitting down, putting on some music, you know, maybe sparking a joint or taking a little edible to just kind of like soothe my nervous system a little bit. And then just tearing up paper, gluing it down. It makes me slow down. Having something that will help me feel just in the moment. versus worrying about something that happened in the past or what might happen in the future. Just reminding myself that I've got that breath, I've got my art, I've got just a way to quiet everything else and be focused on what's in front of me. I also like to have a lot of like my grandmother's artwork. She was a weaver, my dad's mom. And so a lot of these pieces are hers. Most of the weavings that you see in the house are her work. Carolyn Price Dyer, you get it right. She's a big deal. At the core, I think that any artist needs to create for themselves first, because if you don't love it, why would anybody else? Or if they do you feel good about it? And if you're putting things out into the world, I would hope that people want to feel good about it. It's been a little bit of a struggle too to put things out that like I feel are good. So trying to stay rooted in my own reasons for doing trash art or any art in general is probably more important than figuring what the outside forces want.
Yeah.
You know, that said too, I have enjoyed doing some commissions, and I think that feels a little bit different. Like with the piece I created for Will, it was a lot of travel things and like mementos and stuff like that. So like there's a different pressure I think that comes along with creating something for someone else, but it is another way to grow your process and to kind of get outside of the box of like my regular thinking, because I'm presented with new materials and I'm presented with kind of the emotional pressure of like wanting to make something for someone that they can really love and enjoy and not put in the back of their closet or like whatever, you know, like thanks. But also like sometimes gifting art too, I'm like, well, what makes me think that this person would even likes this stuff, you know? And so I think that is something that I kind of struggle with too. I'm like, I want to gift someone something like some trash art for a housewarming, but I'm like, how presumptuous of me to think they want trash in their house. But people do, so that's cool. But this is where a lot of the collaging and trash art goes down.
How long have you had the cutting board for?
This, oh gosh, I can't even tell you. At least 16 or 17 years probably. It's been a long time. It's a little rough. You know, you're not using it for a smooth drawing surface, but we are cutting a lot of stuff on it. Just starting, I think, is another thing that like has shifted things for me. I know that if I just start, and like that works with art, but that also works with my contract projects. It's like if I'm feeling stuck and I just like worry about what I'm going to do, I'm never going to get to a point where I feel good about it. We don't have time, but we have to make the time, or we have to find the thing that will allow us to have a little bit of time for ourselves. And whether that's like 5 minutes or, 5 hours, if you got it. It is crushing that our society is continuing to like just make sure that we don't have that time for ourselves, and that we have to really work hard to find those moments. But when you do, it can be transformative. Also got this, which I think is rude. And I don't know why this exists either, but it's like half a cup for a half-assed friend. My mom's side of the family and the women and the family that I grew up around, like they made time for fun and was always around family, but like they worked all of the time. Like there wasn't much space for them to do things that they enjoyed on their own, especially the women. So I think it's really exciting to share with them like what we've been doing. And I say we because my sister is like always in the back of my mind, because she is also like an amazing creative force, and so like drawing inspiration from her as well. Them seeing us flourish in our creative careers, I think is also giving another example to some of our younger cousins and second cousins and third cousins, and like the babies about like, you don't have to follow this path that you've seen in Florida, you know what I'm saying? All the time, you can do something different. And different is not wrong, it's just different. And there's lots of space to be different in this world. You just gotta find the community that will continue to foster it and support it. So I think that I've found that in many different avenues of my life. And the family part was a really inspiring part of that too.